Think magical safaris are out of reach? Think again. With VisitTanzania4less.com, the heart of Africa is just a click away. Imagine waking up to the golden sunrise over the Serengeti, the land sprawling beyond the horizon, teeming with wildlife. Imagine yourself dining beside a lake, watching hippos play, or spotting the elusive tree-climbing lions lounging on ancient branches. This isn't just a daydream, it's your next vacation. Tanzania, the home of the iconic Mount Kilimanjaro and the breathtaking Great Wildebeest Migration, offers more than just a trip. It offers an adventure, an escape into the wild.
What's something people don't know about community impact? A simple donation could transport kids to the heart of Ghana, opening a world of possibilities. Since 2017, thanks to 103.7, The Beat and community supporters like you, dozens of kids have embarked on a journey of a lifetime to Ghana. This isn't just any trip. It's filled with learning, adventure, and joy. These kids are diving into a culture rich in tradition. They're learning about the world beyond their textbooks. This program educates and connects communities, building bridges. Your support can light up a child's life. It's an exploration of potential and a celebration of new friendships. Donate today at kidsfreetriptoafrica.com. Every donation matters. Please donate today at kidsfreetriptoafrica.com. Thank you.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. We're live in the studio, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on all the major social media. Big Rob, see, my doctor will pull up. Your doctor have yet to come on.
You've proven that. Your doctor will pull up.
It took me a while. It's been 25 years since he's been in Muskegon, back home practicing. He's been on TV with us, with an underground video show. But today is a special moment. Dr. Varnado is in the studio. Your nephew and his team did an amazing thing last night. Welcome to the show. I know you have to be proud of Jaylen.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. And yes, I am. He's an incredible young man. In fact, his brother too. They're just incredible young men. My sister did an amazing job raising my nephews. I was actually quite mad at her when she left Grand Rapids to move down to Atlanta several years ago, because I was well, Jaylen wasn't born yet when she moved to Atlanta, but I was really sad because I'm close with my nephews, and so it was hard to see them go to Atlanta when I was still here in Muskegon.
Wow. And you and your nephews, you're close with them.
Yes.
Yeah. Jaylen looks like you.
Oh, he looks like my dad. If you saw a picture of my father, Jaylen is a carbon copy of my father. He looks more like my father than I do.
And he say he was your dad.
But Jaylen looks like my father, carbon copy of him.
Wow. Did anybody from your household go to the game?
My oldest boy went to the game. I went to some of the playoff games. It was just my schedule. I came back from vacation in time, and people had a hard time getting into me. So, but I love my patient. I love what I do. Right. But it is a really special. He knows that I'm there with him. So, right. And with my sister, so I called them and congratulate them. And I'm going out there to see him in a few weeks because my son's graduating from physical therapy school, and he lives out there too. So I'll see him soon and get a chance to spend some time with them.
Wow, how old is your son?
My oldest boy is 26. Okay. So he's finishing up physical therapy school.
That got to be something for them to see their cousin, their first cousin, the highest paid player in the NBA.
not a cousin that you don't see.
They're tight with.
They're tight. They're tight from what you say, Pierre. Is that true, Doc?
Oh, yes. They still talk about all the games, the hide and seek, where they played at my mother's house when they'd run around. And when Jaylen and his brother Quentin were kids, my father and I used to drive down to Atlanta and pick them up. And so we would bring them back, and they'd spend probably about 6-8 weeks in Muskegon here. So Jaylen played Little League in Muskegon, so I got pictures of him playing
Really?
Little League.
Seriously?
Played Little League baseball here in Muskegon, so I got pictures of him. I
Really?
coached my daughter and him on the same team.
Really?
Wow.
I do. I got pictures.
Wow.
And you're not the uncle that's asking for money.
No, I got that. But I came to that early on.
It's just a joke, Doc. Honestly.
But I think that happens to everyone. When
Yeah.
you
And I
work
was
hard
saying
for
that
But
earlier.
I told Jaylen, I said, I love you. I don't need anything from you, but I will tell you if I think some things that I need to say to you, because I don't want to be on your payroll.
Wow. Well, and he got a University of Michigan degree.
Go Blue.
So he good.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, most of the time when a family member gets that well known and that, popular, and they're making as much money as his contract is, you got family members coming out the woodwork that you ain't never seen, never played with. Nothing. I know because I see it through Paul. He's a rich man now. So people come out the woodwork. Hey, cuz, why don't you give me $50,000 to start this business?
Yeah. Nope. I definitely see that for people wanting that. But I just wanted to make sure that I appreciate him. I see how hard he works. I never doubted at all whether he would make a professional basketball player, because he always had a love for the game. I remember when he was a little boy, just always had a basketball in his hand. You try to take that basketball away from him, you just start crying. He loved basketball, and combined with his willingness to work hard. So he loved something, but was also willing to work hard. Most kids, if they're talented, you got to have talent. You got to have a desire to work hard. You got to be lucky not to get hurt. And you just need a break here and there. And so things just fell his way, but he was always prepared to take advantage of that moment.
Wow. Well, some people still don't believe, like Jaylen Brown calls Muskegon his second home. That's like hard for them to believe. I don't know why. Because you guys have a nice sized family here, very active.
Yeah. Well, my mother's side of the family, so he was extremely close with both my parents. My dad died in 2005. But my mother just died last year. And so he was extremely close to my mother. So they had a very good relationship. And he'd always want to come back and visit Granny and see Granny.
Right. On the screen, if you're watching online, he did a special custom shoe to honor your mom.
Yes.
Did you know that was coming?
My sister told me something about it, but I didn't see the shoe until he debuted him on TV.
Well, how did that make you feel when you see your mom and, they made sure they talked about the shoe?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The interview said Muskegon nationally.
Right. I know.
Nationally. In your mother's name.
Yeah.
My mother is such a humble woman. She doesn't like a lot of attention. So I know she probably would have not, because she was a very humble woman, but I think just touched by the love and the care that from her grandchildren. I just think about all my mother's grandchildren that they have. They're incredible kids. I have 3 kids. My sister has 2 kids. But just the delight and joy that she would bring to her when she mentioned and talked about her grandchildren.
Now, if it was something your mother would have said, if he had did this while she was alive, what would she have said to Jaylen?
Oh boy, why you got me all on TV?
Right. Wow. We got online comments. Apparently, I think all the black men in Muskegon are seeing you, or you are seeing them, except Big Rob. He's the only black guy that you don't as a doctor for. Because when I post, I got a lot of comments.
But you got to remember, I'm half.
I'm
half black.
Okay.
But
I'm a half breed.
Pastor Jerry Riley said, "Tell my doctor, hello, go Irish."
Oh,
Irish.
Ooh, we have a long-arm battle in there. He's a Notre Dame fan, and I'm a Michigan fan and graduate. So we kind of fight about that one. So
I know Pastor Riley lose that argument all the time. I mean, it's only him and DJ Hilson, only one I know about.
Notre Dame.
Right. Yesterday, Jaylen mentioned the relationship with your mom, and I think we got.
Can you pull that up?
Yeah, I think we got some video here. I'm speaking on. I want to get your feedback.
Yesterday, you had your Yesterday, you had your grandma on your shirt. You had a big hug with mom on stage. We're brothers here. You're building juice with your cousins and your family. And your friends. What does it mean to do all this with family by your side?
It means a lot. I wish my grandmother was here with me to see this moment. But I woke up from my pregame nap, and I had a dream, and my grandma was in the dream, and she gave me a hug this afternoon. And I just knew everything was going to be all right. But I wish she could be here. But she was so important and pivotal in my life. And it's just awesome. I know she would be proud of me. So, Grandma, I know she was watching. And I love you so much.
Wow, when you saw that, what made you feel? I know, because I know it's been a year and some months, and it's still fresh. But is your mom like looking down, being so proud of her grandkids?
Absolutely. I've just, because this has been a year, because my mom died in February of 23. And just seeing that our family have had so many events and things that have happened without my mom present. So every time that's a little when you just think. So my daughter graduated from law school last year.
Wow.
And so I just think I didn't have my mom there for that. I know my mom loved graduations, and so she loved going to graduation. So and she loved the events. She didn't know what was going on basketball. She didn't. She didn't
Would she have been at that
she
game?
went to the game.
She would have went to the game.
She didn't know who was scoring. She wouldn't have known what was going on, but she had just been there cheering for her grandbaby.
Wow.
And probably been one of the loudest people there. So I just really, it just kind of, but I think of the legacy that my mom started as well, too. My mom was a retired school social worker. She's in the Muskegon Heights system when she retired from being the social work, but just the love and the pour that she poured into kids. So not only into her own children, my sister and I'm not here today without everything that my mom poured into me and my sister and where she was and the strength that she has to raise those boys, but also the strength that she gave a lot of people around her, the kids that she mentored. She mentored quite a few kids and people that I still stay in contact with, and people tell me what my mom means to them, and some of them I don't even know. So she was special to me, but I see how she affected other people's lives and how she touched Jaylen's life and just being present. So my mom didn't necessarily tell you what to do all the time, but she was just there. Supporting, give you a hug, and really didn't demand stuff, but she would make you think. So when I got in trouble or something was going on, I didn't get in trouble. She just made you think. And so
You didn't get the whooping?
I didn't get the whooping. I got
Daddy got the whooping.
And my grandfather and all the aunts and uncles that needed to be appropriate, but she made me think. And I think that's what kind of something would happen to Jaylen and her grandchildren. She made them think.
Wow.
And you said y'all used to go pick him up.
Yes.
Him and his brother.
Yep.
And bring them here.
Yes.
Why was that so important to your sister, your mother, and you? And your father? I believe you said you and your
my
father.
At the time, my dad was sick. And so for him and I, that was an opportunity, because he was always working when I was a kid growing up. So he was busy and I was always at the park playing baseball. But it gave us an opportunity because I could have just drove down by myself, turned it back around and come back up. But it gave us some time to spend together. So I got to know my dad a little bit better from in the car. And I didn't know this, but from probably about the last few years, I've noticed that my vehicle of connecting with people is in the car, because I can get them in the car and I can be real with people in the car. Okay. So the last real conversation that really real with Jaylen, it happened in the car, because we were in the car ride together and we just had time and that we speak. And with my kids, when I really have those real conversations with them, it happens in the car when I'm driving. So
you don't have no music going.
No, we don't. I very rarely do. I very rarely, because we're having, especially if I'm with somebody, because we're having conversation. I'm trying to see what's going on in their life, what's going on in their world. So that helped my father and I connect by him driving down there with me. And then, like I said, I was close to my nephews, and it's just to give my sister a break. Right. And also that they didn't get to see their grandparents because they were down in Georgia. And so my mom always wanted to keep, because she worked in the school system, and she had the summers off. And so she had the time and energy to pour into them. So I would go down there with my father and pick them up, and we'd have an adventure coming back.
He's laughing. There's some story behind that. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of stories that kind of go along with that. So,
wow. Is the family planning like any celebration for Jaylen?
I know they're having a parade. I believe it's on Friday in Boston. And I think that boy probably just wants to relax. He likes his time by himself. So I'm sure there will be a party. I just don't know any details on that one. So I'll probably get that in the next day or so. My sister just has a lot of people, a lot of stuff. So I told her I'd catch up with. I talked to her this afternoon. So I'll catch up with her probably tomorrow.
Now, was she his agent?
She worked a lot. My sister is an incredibly strong woman. I love my sister. She can do whatever she puts her mind up to. But Jaylen wanted to, because a lot of stuff in the NBA, especially as when you're drafted, those contracts are slotted. So you can't make a lot of moves in negotiating, at least early on. So she wasn't a licensed agent, but she helped guide him through that process. So I don't think he might have hired an attorney to look through the contract, but he did not hire an agent. So I think a lot of my sister did a lot of the groundwork on that and finding an attorney, because she worked in the insurance industry. And so I don't know, I think she has a couple. I know she has at least one master's degree. I'm not sure if she has two. She might have two.
Everybody in y'all family got degrees.
They do. They do. but that starts from, I give that to my mother's father. Grew up right in the Heights down the road there, but he wanted to go. I believe he wanted to be, I don't know if he wanted to be an accountant, but everybody called him Lawyer Ross. His name's Thomas Ross Jr.
Okay.
And he wanted to go to school, just had limited opportunities, but he'd always tell his kids that you're going to go to school. And I believe they had 8 children, and out of the 7 children of my grandparents on my mother's side of the family, that 7 of them have master's degrees or better.
Wow.
And then all my cousins that have a parent that has that master's degree, all of them have graduate degrees. So all my cousins, I have like 2-3 chemical engineers. I have another doctor. I have a couple attorneys in my family. It was kind of funny. I think one of my sons goes to school out in Boston. He lives with my sister, and he's finishing his physical therapy degree out there in Boston. And his teacher was going like, "Oh, isn't it great that you're going to be a first generation like kind of graduate student?"
She didn't know.
And she didn't know. And it was kind of like, "No," he said, "I think I'm 4th generation." Because my father's mother actually went to Grambling back in the day. So my grandmother on my father's side went to Grambling. So so it's not a fluke. So I think my cousins, and I won't tell them that, so I can't show them the video, but they're all smart. I think they're all smarter than I am.
Wow. You're a doctor.
They're smart. That's why they didn't go into medicine, because they saw how hard I worked.
Right. So who is Jaylen some kin to here? Like what family? I know the Varnado family, but what other families is Jaylen Brown some kin to here in Muskegon?
I'm just thinking of, actually, my Aunt Gail just died. My father's sister, Gail Crawford, rest her soul. She died last year. Okay. But Albertus Crawford is my uncle. That was my father's father-in-law. And then Glenn and Jeff Jackson are my father's brother. Okay. And so mainly on my father's side of the family, most of everybody on my mother's side of the family are gone. But the closest members are probably, and Glenn is really close. Glenn Jackson, my father's brother, is really close with my Michelle and Jaylen.
Wow. So your sister, she is definitely retired, right? She don't have to do anything anymore, right?
She doesn't, but that's not my sister's style.
Right. I get it, but she don't have to work if she don't want to.
Yes, she doesn't, but she runs Jaylen's foundation. He has a foundation called Juice, and what he's working with, he runs a bridge program for students in the Boston area. So they spend time in the STEM programs for the MIT and Harvard, getting those kids exposed to the STEM, because that's, believe it or not, kids, that's where the money is at. So you better learn your science and your technology and your computer skills, because that's where the jobs that are going to be paying at. And so Jaylen has big dreams for, he's working on a project in Black Wall Street in Boston, just helping Black-owned businesses to prosper in the Boston area. So he's creating that foundation, and I think that's going to be a wonderful thing. And I'm really, and I serve on the board. I'm the treasurer of the board of his Juice Foundation. And I'm really working hard as we expand, as we grow. I want to do some things here in Muskegon County. So that's a dream of mine, because I said, he spent some time here in Muskegon, and I'd love to see some things happen as a result of his foundation to take place here in Muskegon.
But it seems like he was here almost every year, because the way you spoke about it is every year y'all would go get him and his brother.
Yes, probably,
and bring them here.
Probably from the time that he was one and a half, until when he was probably about 13. That's when his basketball started taking off for him, that he was doing the AAU routines, and that he was engulfed in playing basketball. So there was probably about a 10-12 year period that he would spend here in Muskegon.
Yeah. And the only reason I brought up your sister and laughed about it is because most of the time, if they have a son and they were a mother, not being a mother, but if they were a mother to their children, their child will make them stop. I saw a video of an NFL player who told his mama, "You don't have to work anymore. You're done." And his mama snuck behind his back and got another job and started working. So when you said that, that's what I related that to, because the way you spoke of your sister, like she ain't just going to sit around, But I seen an NFL player tell his mom, "You're done." He walked into her job and said she quit today and walked out with his mom, but she turned around, went behind and got another one.
I'm sure Michelle's going to work. She's going to work.
She's going to work, and she enjoys that foundation work because it's just some good stuff that he's doing. And I know he is working with some schools in Africa. And I know, Paul, that you have a lot of connections over in Africa. So we're going to work on some things together over there too. So I still got you. We looked at kind of stuff that you gave to me. And so we still have that and going to work on some things. So that's cool. I really, I've never seen anyone. He's just committed. He wants to do good things. It's just not about buying them big stuff. And so you would know if he's around you in Muskegon. I remember a story when he was in Muskegon. Him and my son were out at a gym playing basketball, and they stopped at a convenience store. And he probably it was right when he first made it to the league. I think he came home. He had a little break or something. I don't remember if it was Christmas or something. I think it was Christmas, because my sister came to Muskegon for Christmas, and then Jaylen came. And so my son had an old beat down car, because I just said, you know what, that's what you're going to drive unless you got some money. And he didn't have any money at the time. Because a lot of people's like, "Oh, your dad's a doctor, you get a fancy car." We're like, "No, boy, I had to pay for my own car."
Exactly.
And so they were in his car, and they went into the store, and they came out, and Jaylen might have had an expensive jacket on, and he had some Celtic shirts. And the guy looked at him. He said, "You're Jaylen Brown." And the guy looked at him, and then Jaylen looked back at him. He goes like, "Why would Jaylen Brown be in Muskegon, Michigan?" And he goes, I ain't Jaylen Brown. He probably had a $2,000 jacket on and some Celtic shirts on and getting into a hoopty. And so I still remember that story. My son and I, we still laugh about that.
So the kid never did know that was Jaylen Brown.
I think he thought my son said, yeah, he knew that was Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen just played it off.
Wow. Before we go, because you are a doctor, you're a medical doctor.
Yes.
And you can't even have no more patients, right? You're full.
Woo! I said being in Muskegon for 25 years,
Right.
and it's hard. I said the landscape of medicine right now, so many things are just changing and shifting, and so it's hard to find a primary care doctor, especially here in Muskegon, because there's been so much turnover in the last few years. I love caring for business or for patients, but the business of medicine has changed dramatically in my 25 years of practice in medicine.
So you at Hackley Community Care
Yes.
now, and your mom used to be on the board there, right?
She was. We didn't overlap, so I couldn't say that she was my boss yet.
Right. We interviewed her.
Yes.
We interviewed her before.
Yes.
But that's good. So do you see yourself like retiring real soon, or what? What is next? You're gonna start your own hospital? We need another hospital.
Yeah, I think it definitely to care for people. I just think the business of medicine is hard right now, so that's hard to do. I don't know. I don't know what the next chapter tells for me, but I love caring for people.
It will be in healthcare, right?
Yes. Well, I don't know. I like lots of stuff. I like, but right now it's just making sure my kids are all on a good start right now. So my daughter's in Chicago. She's an attorney there. Then I have a son that's a physical therapy student in Boston. Then I have another son he plays basketball at Calvin University in Grand Rapids. And he's graduating early. So he has a year of eligibility left after he graduates. And so he wants to go to graduate school and maybe in the Boston area and think about playing his last year there and going to graduate school out there too. Wow. So get them in the good spots, which they are. And I've worked really hard, but I don't see myself retiring. I probably work into my 70s.
Woo! Wow, you got a long way to go.
I got a lot. Well, not that long.
So what church you go to? Because I know you're heavily connected. I know you're in the Christ. I know you're in the God. I know you're a Christian. What church you go to?
Well, my wife and I recently changed. Well, we haven't really settled on a church right now. We were at Bethany Church in Muskegon for a while. It was just right downtown because I wanted to do everything. And so we're just a little bit in the transition right now and figure it out. But I have attended some churches around local, just a church that my wife and I have grown to like. The pastor went to school, one of my kids, but it's in Ferrisburg. I went to a church there. So good pastor, good dude. So we're kind of seeing how we're just kind of hanging out there for a while.
Are you still coaching?
I have not coached in probably a couple years, but I think once my son is done playing basketball, I will start coaching again. I probably will start coaching. Baseball again is my first love. I know I've coached basketball the most, but baseball is my first love.
Pastor Ryder said, let me hear his answer about what church.
Yeah, I know. Pastor's trying to get me to come there. So that's why I said, and I know I love you, Pastor, and you're a good man. We're still working. We're still working it out.
We're still working it out.
We're still working it out.
You chose to stay in the heart of Muskegon. Why you didn't want to move out to the suburbs?
I started in the suburbs. There's nothing wrong with the suburbs. It was something for me. I don't know. I think I wanted my kids to not grow up in privilege.
Wow.
And so I don't know, I worked really, and so there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm not saying
no.
And I know a lot of people look at me. I wanted my kids to know what it meant to work hard. And I still think they had some, even though I moved to the city. Because when we lived out in the suburbs, they'd leave their bikes out and do all that kind of stuff. And then right when we moved to the city, I think the first time they did that, their bike got stolen.
There you go.
And so it taught them some lessons. I said, well, if you value it, you need to take care of some stuff. And then my son came to me, probably about a year ago. And he said, Dad, I really didn't understand what it is to work hard. Because I'd work probably about 50 hours a week. I would coach a basketball team. I would teach a class. I teach money management. I used to teach money management classes too, because I think a lot of people make enough money, but people don't spend their money, like they don't account for it.
Right.
And so I taught a money management class, and I coached and usually did something at the school. And my son really didn't understand that. And then when he came back, after he graduated from college. He goes like, Dad, he said, you really worked hard. So when my friends tell me that they work hard, he's going like, no, you don't work hard yet, because of what he saw. I wanted my kids to understand that. And I think they did pick up some of that work ethic. At the end of the day, I wanted my kids to be able to, can you take care of yourself?
Wow. As a doctor, what are you seeing that bothers you? I know, because man, you talk a lot. You're big on this weight and being healthy. What do you see that really bothers you as a Black doctor?
I'd probably say, especially, it's probably the mental health component of that and dealing with people. Obviously, I think a lot of things are weight. I think a weight is a big thing that's happened. A lot of our medical problems are arthritis, heart disease, diabetes. All those things are tied to weight. But what I just see the part and the struggles that we go through as Black men. That I see a lot of anxiety and people of fear, and I think that's a lot of times when I see these young men going around that they're just fearful, a lot of anxiety, and I think that increases the risk of people getting the substance abuse. I can't tell you that I see, and people are going to do those things. And I live in this neighborhood, and we got a lot of marijuana facilities around, but I see a lot of teenage kids. That's all they do is doing marijuana, and I know there's a lot of anxiety driven and things and so that's the part that I see. A lot of things is our kids are going to be left behind.
Do you think that's bad? Is a lot of marijuana bad for you?
I think anything that you do every once in a while is not going to be harmful, but if that's all you do every day, all day, yes, it can be harmful. If you look at the studies, sometimes for people who are using daily marijuana, it increases your risk of having 80% of the time it's the cause of why people have anxiety. There's a 30% increased risk of schizophrenia in young people who use daily marijuana use. Schizophrenia, that's when people lose touch with reality. Right. They start seeing stuff and hearing stuff that's not there. And so that's big with people, young people have. And so people think, well, it's natural and there's no side effects from it. But I think they're kidding themselves if there's no side effects from it.
Well, we got an online comment. Rich Thrower said, much love to our family doctor. Definitely used to see him coach baseball at Sheldon Park, a great and value asset to our community. People love you, Dr. Varnado. They love your sister. They love your mom. And, of course, they're proud of Jaylen Brown. Anything else that you want to share to the community before you go? And I appreciate you, like, really. I know today is a very busy day for the family. I mean, your nephew is MVP of the NBA Finals. That's big. Like, you don't get. He's itched into history, and to have his DNA connected back to Muskegon, I can imagine the kind of emotions going through you right now with the family, with your mom, just leaving here last year, and for you to make all time for us, man, I really, really appreciate that. Wow. I mean, I know I trusted you with, a lot of my secrets. You're my doctor. I haven't seen another doctor in I guess it's been 25 years. And so I really appreciate that. Is anything you want to share to the community before we go?
Nope. I just love that you invited me on, and so I just want people to do well. Take care of yourself. If you have, especially one of the things you told me about, I saw a Black man the other day. And he had insurance, but he didn't want to go to the doctor, especially if you have insurance. Go get yourself taken care of. Make sure that your blood pressure is controlled. I'm really working hard on some projects to in the future that will help people to control their blood pressure. If there's one thing that I could help a person out with, if there's one thing that I could do is helping people out with their blood pressure. Blood pressure is a big deal. It leads to strokes and heart attack and premature death. So if I had one disease to treat, it would be your blood pressure.
Wow. And for you as a doctor, how do you keep yourself tight?
It's a stress reducer to exercise.
Okay.
And so I enjoy exercising and keep it. And actually, just in my family, everybody's so competitive with sports and stuff. And I remember probably during COVID, my daughter came home and she was telling me, Dad, you look a little fluffy. And so I had to get workouts. So I get in all things.
She literally told you that.
And Dad, you look a little fluffy. And
that's nice. That's a nice way of saying that.
That hurt my little feelings. So I had to get to work. So, but I cannot recommend and be an example to people if I'm not willing to do it myself. So I've said early on in my career, I'm not going to recommend anything to anybody that I'm not willing to do myself.
Wow, that's dope. I don't know if Jaylen and Jason know that Jason Tatum also has family here in Muskegon.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, and the Pringle family in that's also last name, but Pringle family, some kin to them.
Okay.
And Wilson family, second, third cousin.
Okay.
Yeah, so both of them have family right here in Muskegon, which is
Small
crazy.
world.
And then you
Small
have
world.
Xavier Tillman, who's
Yes.
from Grand Rapids.
Yes.
So, all right. Thank you, Doc. I'll let you get out. Hope y'all do something special for him and for the whole family, like this whole Varnado success story. Y'all can have a reality show, right? Everybody graduated. Everybody got masters and going to the next level. And
Yeah,
it's a great story.
and that's a beautiful thing. You did what you did for your children. And you're a doctor. I can't count your
and
pockets.
a University of Michigan doctor.
Go blue.
Yeah.
Right. And you had an option to stay in the suburbs or stay a regular man, but you wanted your kids to learn something. And I think for me, not because I was a doctor or I had the money to move in the suburbs, I don't think I would have, me personally. You can ask Paul, my children have had jobs or created their own jobs, mowing lawns, shoveling snow, moving people, painting, helping me put up a roof on somebody's house or whatever and stuff. My kids always had a hustle, but it was a positive hustle. Right. It wasn't a hustle on the street. PA can tell you that they had their own business. They would fix cell phones, right? Just flip cell phones. They would fix those. They would take 5 damaged ones to make one good one. So I get that. And I wanted my kids to have that too, to work hard. They've never been without a job now. They will have 2, 3, 4 jobs sometimes. Right. So I understand where you're coming from. And I appreciate to meet another Black man who had the money to go to a suburb, but you wanted your kids to get something different.
Right. He can walk to work.
I do. Some days, not all days.
So, wow. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being honest and open about that, because there ain't too many of us out there, because that's one of the things that's important, at least to me. My daughter, she don't depend on nobody to take care of her. She does it on her own. Exactly. My son's the same way. So I salute you, Doc, for doing that, because you didn't have to.
If you're watching this video online, make sure you like and share this video. Be proud of Jaylen Brown. Be part of Varnado's family and what they represent. And just be proud to be from Muskegon. We got a lot of good people who are connected to Muskegon doing great things around the world. We might not get a chance to spotlight everybody because we don't know everybody. I just know Doc. He's been my doctor. He's been talking about Jaylen when Jaylen was in high school. So I know. And so, but we got a lot of good stories. Share those stories about Muskegon. That's changed the energy in the atmosphere of Muskegon. That's keep positive energy in the air. We need that. There are a lot more Jaylen Browns in our community and surrounding areas. It's up to us to groom them to be in their level. Jaylen's not just not athletic. He's a very smart kid.
Yeah. Oh, I just comment on that. So when we talk about that, I think he's very cognizant that his cousins and his brother for their degrees. And so I think he's because he went to University of California at Berkeley for 1 year. Wow. And so I tried to get him to come to Michigan. I thought we were going to get him at Michigan. We were this close. He decided to go to Cal because it had high academic standards. And I think it was the weather that he liked out there as well. And so I think that helped him to reach new heights too, just a lot of high academic people, and have them another perspective to see the world by and not to be limited by stuff that's just in front of him. And so I think him getting that perspective of seeing the world through that lens, I think has helped him to grow and to use. He knows that he has some celebrity. He knows that he has a platform that he can help change the lives of people, change the way that people think, and to help people along. And so I really appreciate that. and hope to join him in his process, especially with his foundation, to be able to, especially and to build kind of hope for kids, because unfortunately, I see a lot of Black kids just following. But I volunteer at Muskegon Maritime Academy and seeing the kids, and boy, what a wonderful thing. The teacher I worked with, her name was Mrs. Barnett, and what a wonderful job she did the 4th grade class. But just doing it, and they're working on STEM, and that's what Jaylen's about, just STEM, science, technology, engineering, and those particular fields. And just to see that, and that kind of one of the things that inspired me to work and give back to a little bit for the schools, and just to say, if we don't do it, who is going to do it?
Exactly. Wow. Wow. Thank you. And awesome job, Frank Vidal, Muskegon Maritime Academy. I'm seeing the photos and military style.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And these kids are really getting it. All right, Doc. Thank you so much. I told you 30 minutes. We went 40 minutes. So my apologies.
No problem.
Muskegon, share this video. It will be on demand back on radio on our app. And we're live at 103.7 The Beat. We're going back to more music. It's the afternoon jams. Thank you.